Do you place a high priority on the importance of a morning routine? Is it a mechanism that you use to gauge your expectations about the quality of your day and overall strength of your life? If you answered yes, you're not alone. According to Cinch Home Services, 88% of Americans say that they have a morning routine often or on a regular basis. The study also found that 92% of highly productive people were more likely to do so. 43% of Americans say that they incorporate drinking coffee as a major part of their morning routine, followed by exercise at 32% and taking a shower rounds out the top three at 26%. Ryan Cote is the owner and founder of Morning Upgrade, a business dedicated to increasing the awareness and importance of personal development through a podcast, a blog, journaling, and more. Ryan believes that the way you start the day sets you up for success in every other aspect of your life. He joined me this week to talk about the morning upgrade, the importance of morning routines, and so much more. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Fantastic, Ryan. If you're ready, buddy, I'll welcome you to the program. And I'm super excited to learn all about your journey with the morning upgrade and how you help people get into the right routine. Great to see you this morning, buddy. And thank you so very much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Absolutely. So, Ryan, tell me that you're the founder of the Morning Upgrade, which is a business dedicated to increasing awareness about personal development, buddy, through blog posts, podcasts, and a book of morning routines. So tell a routine time. So tell me all about the endeavor and what it's all about, buddy.
Yeah. So morning upgrade is it's a business I started 2 years ago, and April 2020 to be exact, right when everything was starting to to close down. And so I had been writing about personal development content before that, and with just less to do at that time with the lockdown, and just had more clarity. And I was like, I should try to create a business out of this to reach more people, because previously I was just putting the content on LinkedIn, and I was like, I should create a brand out of this. And so it started out as a blog, and then I added a podcast, which I'm on episode like 90, I think. And so I've been running that for a couple of years, and wrote a book, created a morning routine product that I use every morning. And so I don't know what's next, but I'm having fun just talking to people like you and creating content and having people on my podcast and just meeting people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ryan, tell me, what's your definition of personal development and growth? How do you define those two terms, buddy? And I'm wondering if you think they're interconnected.
I think they're interconnected, because personal development to me is working on yourself, developing yourself, and that leads to growth. And so I guess there's one comes before the other, I suppose. So personal development is developing yourself, which leads to growth. And to me, the definition or the purpose of it is really closing that gap, like Ed Milet and Brian Johnson talks about, and some others, where that personal growth gap, where you've got the person that you are and the person you want to be, or the person you think you could be, like what's possible, and then closing that gap. So you got version 1.0 of yourself, and then you've got version 2.0, whatever that looks like for you, and that space in between is the gap. And so, to me, personal development is, the purpose of it is to create growth and to close that gap. And that's what I try to do every day, the best I can at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And just before we move on, buddy, I can hear the New Jersey accent, buddy. So tell me, what's the best part about living and working on the East Coast, and the best part about living in New Jersey for you, bud?
I didn't realize I have an accent, but I guess I do. I like so I like New Jersey. I know the real estate is crazy and the prices and all that. I like New Jersey, at least where I live, because you've got access to different things. So I'm like 30 minutes from New York City. So I have all that craziness to go to and fun things to do. And then I'm in like the suburbs, like homes and grass and all that. And then I'm like 2 hours from Philadelphia. I'm 2 hours from the shore, like beaches. And so there's just different, and I'm like an hour from like more country settings. And so I'm in a hub where I've got different things, whether I want city or beach or the country, and it's all fairly close. And so that's definitely a plus, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, but that marketing, Ryan, is also in your blood, and you added an extra layer by working with your family. So tell me about the family dynamic when it comes to business and how you make it work, buddy.
Yeah, so Valentine is our marketing agency. We've had it for 56 years now. My great uncle started it in the mid 60s, and it's myself, my two brothers, my uncle that own it. My cousin works there too. We have other team members as well that aren't family, and some that have been working with us for 30 years. And so, and then recently we started a roofing business too. We started a roofing business last year. I know it's totally random. There's a story behind that, but to boil it down, we've got the marketing side and the roofing business. What is it like to work for family? It works. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's good. Like we all have our set roles. There's no egos. We all have a common interest, a common goal that we're trying to achieve, which is growing the business and whatnot, and serving our clients. And so I think that's how we've been able to last as long as we have. That in addition to like we're very focused on sales and service, and so those things help obviously grow the business, and so that's what it's like.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ryan, I'm wondering if we can dive a little bit deeper in the whole notion of setting a morning routine and why do you think it's important for people?
I mean, to me, it's my pillar habit. Because I'm a big believer in the best investment you can make is in yourself, and so to me, it just makes sense logically. Though I am experimenting with a nighttime routine as well now, Kevin, to kind of have like the bookends, like Darren Hardy talks about, morning, night. And but to answer your question, to me, the morning routine is my pillar habit because you're getting up early to invest in yourself, which I think does something to you subconsciously because you're the type of person that wakes up early to invest in yourself. It changes your identity. It creates behavior change in other areas of your life. At least that's what I found. Not that things are perfect, but they're much better before I started doing the morning routine. And you're getting up early and you're doing a bunch of things. I mean, everyone's morning routine can be a little bit a little bit different. My morning routine, it's meditation, exercise, journaling, gratitude practice, celebrating wins, and some other things, reading. And so I'm just like, it only takes me, it's less than a half an hour. And so by the time I'm done with that, I've already checked off a lot of boxes and it makes me feel better. I'm slowly just improving myself with what I'm doing and the questions I'm answering and the content I'm consuming. And that's before my workday even starts. And so that's why I think the morning is so important. I mean, I used to be the guy that would snooze and not want to get out of bed. And that just sends the wrong message to yourself, especially if you do it every day. And that's why I'm a big believer in morning routines.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought up journaling, buddy. So tell me about the sense of empowerment when you get, uh, get a chance to put your thoughts to pen to paper, buddy. I'm curious about the reward you get from seeing your thoughts come to fruition on paper by journaling. What's the power of journaling mean to you, buddy?
Yeah, it's interesting you asked me that question because I just did a recording for my podcast right before we jumped on, and I'll answer it from his perspective because he shared a way he journals and how I do it, so your audience can hear like the different types. So my journaling, to start with my way of doing it, My journal is only a couple minutes, and it's different. Sometimes I'll just get out whatever's in my head. Sometimes lately I've been leaning towards writing down my intentions. So how do I want to show up today across like my energy, my work, and my love? And that's borrowed from the optimized program with Brian Johnson I'm going through. So how do I want to, what are the virtues that I want to uh, show? What are the behaviors I want to have? What are my intentions across work, energy, and love? And so I'll write those down, and then I'll look at them throughout the day just to remind myself, oh yeah, today I said I want to be grateful and I want to be warm with my kids, be present, all that. So that's how I do it. It's real short and sweet. It's just part of my overall routine. My guest that I just had recorded with, his whole morning routine is literally just journaling. Not just, but it's journaling. So he'll get up and he writes 3 pages of notes. And so his style is he just lets it flow. He just writes 3 pages, goes for three pages, gets out his thoughts, gets out his deepest emotions, and that's his form of journaling. So I think to answer your question, there's like really no right way. There's just whatever way works for you.
Yeah, and to that point, Ryan, we talked earlier about personal development, but I wanted to dig just a little bit deeper and ask you about how do you think we can make progress in personal development? Because, I always say that everyone's portrait of success is different. So, how do you think we can gauge whether we're growing through personal development?
I think it's how you feel about yourself. I mean, obviously, there's tangible results. Like, is my business doing better? Am I achieving more? Am I happier? Which, happiness, fulfillment, whatever you want to say. I think you just need to be a believer in the whole compound effect. Doing small things every day that work towards your personal growth, whether it's reading or whatever it is, knowing that that's going to make you better. Because logically, like if you read 10 pages of a book versus not reading 10 pages of a book every day, it makes sense. Like you logically, you have to be improving. And so that's my belief. I just have a belief in that if I work on myself every day, that I'm going to become a better person, whatever that looks like. Everyone's definition is different. But then there's, like I said, the actual tangible results like business and what you're achieving and what your family life looks like and things like that. I think it's just different. But to me, it's a big part of like, how do I feel? Do I feel like I'm progressing? Do I feel like I'm achieving?
Yeah, and Ryan, when we talk about morning routines, tell me how do you think they can affect the other aspect of our lives from a positive perspective if we do them on a consistent basis?
I mean, I think it definitely, for me, it's about the ripple effect, across your whole day. So, and I mentioned this before with like your identity. So if you stick with it, so just keep with your morning routine, okay, every day, or most days at least, and it's going to change your identity. So, if you're the type of person that wakes up early every day, you're also the type of person that's going to eat better, maybe exercise, make better decisions, not perfect decisions, just better decisions. And so it does change your identity. And I keep on using this word logical, but if you think about it logically, like if you wake up, if you snooze 2 or 3 times and then get up at the last minute because you just don't want to get up, your body, your brain, your subconscious, whatever you want to call it, it's sensing that, and it's going to affect your day, and not in a great way. And I know because I've been there. Versus waking up early and investing in yourself, reading and journaling and exercising and whatever that looks like for you, gratitude practice. Logically, the two, it's a very large contrast. And so logically, it makes sense why waking up and investing in yourself is going to change your identity, and it's going to create a ripple effect throughout the whole day when you start your day the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. And based on your entrepreneurship background there, Ryan, wondering how you think digital marketing has really changed the game when it comes to entrepreneurship and how those two are also interconnected.
I mean, digital marketing, it changes all the time. It's definitely leveled the playing ground because now, like, the small businesses have the same resources as larger companies. Small, large, doesn't matter. You still have access to Google, you have access to Facebook, you have access to blogging and all of that, email. Obviously, we're talking about different budgets, of course, but you have access to the same tools, and so that's helped level the playing ground. What I've seen change, I mean, it's funny because each channel evolves so much. Like when I was doing SEO back in search engine optimization, when I was doing it back in, well, I've been doing it forever, but when 2011, 10, 9, 10, 11, God, it was so much easier than it is now. And so each channel has evolved. And so you have to evolve your skill sets. And I've also seen that it's hard to rely on one channel. Okay. Because Facebook, with all their changes, if your sole reliancy is on Facebook, that's not a great thing right now because all the changes. So you can't rely on one channel. You have to have multiple channels, and you really have to own something, whether that's your email list. Obviously, you have your website. You have to own your traffic and own an asset that you can control. That if Facebook shuts down one day, you're not in trouble. You've got something else that you have to market with.
Yeah, don't put your eggs all in one basket, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ryan, tell me, Ryan, I was born with what's called spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy, but it simply means that I don't have enough oxygen in my legs to walk normally. And one of the personal passions that I have is working with business people and entrepreneurs like yourself to ensure that individuals with disabilities have access to gainful employment. So, in that context and lens, buddy, I'm wondering your definition of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how we can infuse more individuals with disabilities into the workforce.
I mean, I think it just starts with making a decision that you are going to be diverse and include everyone. I think that's the way it should be. We're all human beings. We should all have the same equal chances. And so I think it starts with just making decisions that you are going to be the person that welcomes diversity in the workforce. And that's a big part of the business owner, the entrepreneur. But I think it also starts with the employees too, like making it known that that's important to them. You know,
Yeah, absolutely. And Ryan, how do you define fun?
that's a good question because I think fun's very important. I think because I sometimes think about like, what's the point if we're not having fun? Um, I think fun is like the feeling that I have, being around people that I enjoy. It's the small moments, like with my kids. And I'm not just saying that to try to sound like a perfect dad, because I'm not. I'm not a perfect dad, but like it's like small moments that I have with my kids. It's being around friends that I enjoy. It's it's having hobbies that fill my cup, and that's sort of like morning upgrade. It's not a hobby per se, but it fills my cup, and so I think that's it. I think being active too. I'll throw that in there. Being active, I think it just I think it's important. I think it back to my grandmother. I don't know why this is coming to my head now, but I'm just going to go with it. She lived a very long life, 96. And I think a big part of that is that she surrounded herself with people that she enjoyed. She was fairly active. She played games a lot, like bingo and cards, and she laughed a lot, and I think, and she slept a lot too. And so she just like embodied the fun life. And I don't know if that's why she lived so long, but I think there's something to it.
Yeah, and I'm also curious, Ryan, to ask you about your professional role models, but buddy, and who you would classify in that category for yourself.
I think someone I follow a lot, not think, but someone that I follow a lot is, and I don't know him, so I think I mentioned his name before, but Ed Milet. He's got a big podcast. He's a business owner. He's a family man, and he seems to check up a lot of boxes that are important to me, and someone that I mean, I don't compare myself to other people, but what I guess what I would say what I would say is that I think he's impressive. I think he's someone to aspire to, and not that I want to be like him or be him, but I think what he's done up to this point in his 50 years of being alive, I think it's impressive, and I know he's helped a lot of people too.
Absolutely. And Ryan, my final question for you has to do with your own individual and personal legacy. When you look at your life, and you mentioned you had some children, so when you look at your life, what sort of legacy do you want to leave for your kids, both personally and professionally?
Yeah, that's a big question. I mean, I so since I'm into this personal development stuff, I really do try to pour into them. I'm just hoping they grow up to be happy they contribute to society, and they just live lives of meaning, whatever that means to them, you know. And so I really try to pour into their mindset, into their sports, and to the way they talk to each other and the way they talk to themselves. And so I think my legacy, I mean, there's two ways to answer that. You know, with my kids, I want to make sure that they live up to, they grow up to be really happy, fulfilled, contributing adults. But then there's the morning upgrade side. Like I hope that, you know, over the I've been running for 2 years, but I want to keep growing it. I want to have more impact. I want it to reach more people, because I fully believe that someone that reads the blogs, listens to the podcast, reads the book, they're going to pull away one or two nuggets that's going to help them. And then I hope they share that with someone else, and they share it, and they share it. And so I think about the ripple effect. So I've got two things for impact. You know, my family, trying to grow them into, you know, happy adults, and then morning upgrade.
Yeah, fabulous, buddy. And tell me, if people want to get connected with the morning upgrade, but what's the best way they can do that?
Yeah, I'll give you two. I'll give you two websites. I'll give you both websites, since we talked about both. Morning Upgrade is nice and easy. It's morningupgrade.com. And then we talked about Ballantine, the marketing agency. So that's ballantine.com.
Fantastic. Well, Ryan, I really enjoyed our discussion this morning about personal development and growth, buddy. Your work in the space and time on my behalf is most appreciated, buddy. And I want to thank you for being here today and for answering my questions.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me on. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Appreciate it.